Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 1992 Mitsubishi Delica L300 Starwagon. Below me is a 2.5 liter turbocharged diesel inline 4, as well as a 5-speed manual transmission. Now I'm super excited to be driving this here Delica because I haven't driven one before, and they're so weird, so unique, and imported from Japan, which is always fun. But before we get on with the rest of the video, if you are looking to help out the channel, there are a couple links in the description below from our awesome sponsors. One of which is Cash for Cars if you're looking to sell your used car. One is from Fixed, a Bluetooth OBD2 sensor to help diagnose your vehicle, and another from Conplates. Conplates is a suction cup license plate mount for your vehicle in case you don't want to drill into your front bumper. Each purchase or quote goes towards helping the channel, and it's greatly appreciated, so let's get on with the video. So let's get back to that 2.5 liter turbocharged diesel that's actually mid-ship. It's down below my center console here. Well, it makes about 80 horsepower out of a 2.5 liter. Which is not the best, but it's torquey, and honestly, it doesn't feel all that underpowered because the steering ratio, the wheelbase, just how strange it is to drive this van. You don't really want to go a whole lot faster. Like I said, paired to a 5-speed manual, it actually shifts really well, has really good engagement feel, the clutch is nice and light, and overall, it's actually a pretty enjoyable experience. Last but not least about the drivetrain, it is 4-wheel drive, which is a huge peak of interest over American vans that we got in the 90s. Yes, we had like the 4-wheel drive MPV and things like that, but this is different. This is a cab over van with 4-wheel drive. Kind of interesting. But speaking of cab over, if you'll notice, the driver sits on top of the front wheels, which is very, very strange for turning, because you actually start turning the wheel after your body has gone through the turn. It's very, very interesting, and it's hard to explain unless you've driven a cab over before. With that out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have some very simple gauges. On the left is my fuel. Then I have my speedometer, which of course is in kilometers. And I have my tachometer on the right, which only goes up to like 4,500 RPM before redline, and then my coolant temperature to the far right. The steering wheel has since been replaced with an NRG Innovation steering wheel, and the previous owner has added a glow shift gauge on top of the steering wheel. To the right of me, I do have some interesting switches for the rear fan, as well as gate lock and gate unlock. On the door, I just have the latch for the door itself and nothing else. I don't get window switches. That will actually come later. Moving into the center, I have two very interesting gauges. One is an altimeter, giving me my altitude, of course. And to the right, I have a little floating ball that will tell me how much lean the van is experiencing. So when you're off-roading, you can tell how much tilt you are experiencing. Down below that, I have two climate control vents and a little digital clock. And then to the left, we have an aftermarket radio because every radio from the 90s was pretty terrible. And to the right, we have air conditioning controls. Nothing really too interesting here. They look very, very 90s. Out of pretty much every 80s and 90s Japanese car, they look identical. But I do get some 12-volt outlets, which is very nice. And then we have some added cup holders. So we will do a big friggin' bottle test, and this actually passes. The added cup holders here in the Delica L300 pass the big friggin' bottle test, which is just phenomenal. Moving on to the center console, we have two shifters here. The one on the left is for the 4-wheel drive. So I have, of course, 2 high, 4 high, and 4 low. Then I have the actual shifter itself. The shift knob has been replaced with a different Mitsubishi shift knob, but I like the look of it and the feeling of it. It's real notchy. It goes right into gear. Really nice and easy. A lot easier than I would have expected out of a big van like this. But I did drive a Toyota Hiace, and it was a pretty similar story there. The center console has a bunch of different storage options, as well as this is where you'll actually find your power window switches, of which there is a auto power window for the driver, and all it does is it just makes the button stick. It's kind of a funny way of doing auto windows, but hey, it works. Now, the seats are nice and comfortable, and they are kind of bouncy. However, something that I noticed getting into the Delica that I think is going to be a big issue, especially for its owner, Caleb, is the fact that I sit right above the tire. That's fine, but being a bigger, clumsier guy, you take this thing off-roading, I might get some dirt on my shorts more times than not. So just something to think about. And getting up into these is kind of weird. Now, this Delica is currently being converted into a overlander RV of types, a place where Caleb can stay in the back on his overlanding trips. So we will take a quick look at the back, but it's still a work in progress. So this is the back of the Delica, and obviously, like I said, it's a work in progress. It's going to be like a bed and some storage and things like that. But plenty of space back here. Originally, these would come with 3 rows of seating. They're really a Japanese people mover. That's what they were designed to do, and you get this nice sliding door. What's funny is that you only get one of them, like an Astrovan or an MPV that you got here in the States. However, because it's right-hand drive, the door is on the left side, so kind of funny there. Also, this is one big door, huge door you could open. However, there's the tire rack there sort of blocking that for the off-roaderness. So unfortunately, I can't open that for you today, but pretty neat nevertheless. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and this thing looks super funky. It looks weird. Everyone stares at you when you drive around, which is to be expected, and I'm sure partially because of the right-hand drive here in America, but still, it's a very unique looking van. There's nothing in America that we really got here that looked too much like it. There was an old Toyota van that I don't know the name of, but other than that, this is really, really out there, and especially it's weird to see one here in 2021, regardless of make and model. But now let's get to my final thoughts here on the Delica wagon. Well, I think this thing is really unique. It's not as hard to drive as I thought. Well, it's really not hard to drive at all. The only issue I really have with the Delica is the interior space. Maybe it's because it's right-hand drive and I'm not used to it, but the driver's cockpit feels very, very crammed, at least to a big guy like me. Now, to be fair, this wasn't built for us big Yankees over here, so that's fine. It's not a real complaint. I think this thing is so unique, very, very different, and in today's car culture, that's what we're going for, uniqueness and difference. You don't want to be like the next guy at the show. You want to stand out, and I think as of right now, these Delica wagons are still rare enough here in the States where you can really, truly stand out. However, don't buy one in Maine, because they have outlawed them. Don't know why these specifically, but Pastry Media actually has a whole video about it. So go check it out. But you can also find videos on this specific Delica from my good friend who owns it, Gingium. He has tons of videos. I'll leave a link in the description below to his Delica videos if you want to see what he's doing with it and follow the build from there, because this is going to be a really cool overlander camper, and I'm excited to see where he takes it. So huge thank you to him for letting me take out his Delica and just being a good friend to me all these years. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.